Well, let's get some more analysis and we can cross to Rome now and speak to Lorenzo Castellani, who is a professor in History of Political Institutions at the Libera Università Internazionale degli Studi Sociali Guido Carli. Quite a mouthful there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Professor. What's your reaction to Mario Draghi's resignation? Did you see this coming?
Well, snap election was one of the possible outcome of the crisis, was not considered the most likely one until yesterday morning. Most of analysts were thinking that it was possible to carry on the job for Draghi with a changing in the majority, 5 stars going in opposition, but the other political parties remaining supporting Draghi. However, for a cynical calculus based on electoral convenience, both the League and Forza Italia decided to pull the plug to the government. So the result was the final outbreak of the crisis and the collapse of Draghi's government.
Okay, and so what happens next then? Where do we go to from here?
Well, from here, now there's the electoral campaign for a couple of months. Then we will have national elections. The polls are showing us that the center-right coalition is likely to prevail. And Giorgia Meloni, with Brothers of Italy, is becoming the most prominent party of the coalition. On the other side, there are some problems in managing the coalition between the PD, the 5 stars, and the centrist parties, and we still don't know if it will be possible to have a single coalition on the left or 2 groups, the PD and the centrists and the 5 stars with some other leftist parties. So there's still strong uncertainty, but the electoral law, which is for 2/3 proportional and 1/3 majoritarian, is incentivizing the coalition. So the center-right now is in a better position for the fact that it can count on 3 united parties, while the left seems more divided and weak from this point of view.
And I'm just wondering, Professor, what does the Italian public make of all of this? Because I think it's fair to say that in the last few months, at least, on Draghi's watch, there's been a period of relative stability, hasn't there?
Yes, well, a large portion of the civil society, let's say the most active and productive part of Italian society, was looking with a great favor to Draghi. And so part of the public opinion and the Italian establishment in general is a little bit shocked by the sudden end of the legislature. But polls are showing some contrasting elements. While the support for Draghi was very strong, broadly speaking, for example, there was a pretty much strong polarization 50-50 on a very divisive issue as the war in Ukraine and the supply of weapons to Kiev. So we will see what will be the prevalent feeling of the Italian society as a whole with the election. But for sure, Draghi is perceived by the most productive part as a great defeat of the Italian political system, because they were supporting very much the work of the president of the Consiglio.
Do you think we've seen the last of Mario Draghi, or do you think there's going to be some sort of he's going to stage some sort of a comeback in all of this? Can you see a way for him to come back at a later stage?
Yeah, I don't think that immediately Draghi will join the Italian political conflict or the Italian democratic process. What we might expect is that Draghi might remain as a sort of reserve of the Republic, looking particularly at the next election of the head of the state, when Mattarella will decide to resign or will expire, or perhaps another possible solution could be an involvement of Draghi into the European Commission as a future European commissioner, or with another very prestigious international role. But we don't see Draghi as a political leader or involved into the Italian politics directly.
And just lastly, I mean, when you think about Draghi's career, he's a statesman in every sense of the word, and he's got rich experience on so many levels. And that experience, one would have thought, is incredibly valuable to Italy right now, with the inflation crisis and all sorts of other political and economic issues to deal with. I mean, a party like the Brothers of Italy, I mean, do they have the in-house know-how to navigate Italy through these very choppy waters?
Well, there are some men who were involved in previous experience of government, particularly during the Berlusconi era. But broadly speaking, the main problem of the Brother of Italy is the isolation at European level. They are part of the conservative group, but they are not in touch with the greatest center-right parties of Europe. So in case of winning the election, Giorgia Meloni will have to work very hard to set up a legitimation in front of the European Union. And we cannot exclude that her government might be a mix between politicians and technicians in order to make more easier this process of legitimation in front of the international powers and institutions.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you.
Professor Lorenzo Castellani in Rome, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.